Hi guys, it's Funny Animator Jim TV, and in this video I'd like to explain how this Cloud Engine 2024 works and how to incorporate it into your own game. So, as you can see, it's just similar to, it has some similarities to griffpatch's Cloud Engine, but this is really if you want to take griffpatch's Cloud Engine to the next level, because the code is slightly more complicated, but it has some benefits like very few custom blocks, which will be a lot faster for big games, and it saves a lot of space. So if you have a lot of information to send through the cloud because you only have 256 digits, then this engine will save a lot of space because we're using offsets for the numbers instead of encrypting everything. And has some other small features like capital letter usernames, sound change, and for bullets that's good too. Tweening, and you can use stamps with this too. So if you're making a stamp platformer or a 3D game, then this will also work well for those. So let's just take a look inside, and I'll try to explain parts of the code, and then we're gonna go to, I just found this completed version of griffpatch's scrolling platformer, and we'll try to add the cloud multiplayer to this. Okay, so let's take a look at the code. So this player sprite and the cloud sprite. Now the player sprite is displaying, what about that? All of these players. So, oh yeah, somebody else apparently just joined. So there's this character right here is me, and this is the player sprite itself. And then all other players are going to be clones or stamps. So the player sprite is displaying yourself as well as all of the other people. So for the main script, we have the controls like change X, change Y, and point direction. And for the sounds, the sound variable should be a number, ideally. And then you have to have this new variable called p sound change, and just change it by 1 every time you make a sound. And just make sure it stays between 0 and 9. So if it becomes 10, then we're going to reset it back to 0. And that will help, that will work for, that will help with the cloud sounds. And you can also use this for, like, if you're firing bullets, like you could do. What we're going to do in this episode is, or this video, is if key Q pressed, we're going to fire a bullet, then we're going to make a variable called p bullet change and just change p bullet change by 1, and that will allow us to shoot bullets. And then for the clones, we have just a script here that just says if we don't have enough clones on screen, like if the number of clones on screen is less than the number of players there actually are, then we're going to repeat until they're equal, creating the clones. And then for the clones, we just forever do this, and we're going to get each of the data pieces that we need into each of these variables. And we're going to get them from this list called cloud data all, which, as you can see, is all of the cloud data. So you can actually see with this guide list what each of the pieces are. So this is this person, this username, player IBU's ID, which is just a 4-digit number, and their heartbeat, which is just a random number, just to keep them active, and their X position, Y position, direction, size, costume number, sound, and the sound change. So you can see, and then this repeats for all the players. So all the data is in this list, and then to get it, we have to know which player we're dealing with. So for example, for clone number 2, we're going to start at item number 11, and then go down the list and add all the data pieces into each of these variables. And you literally just type the name of the data piece that you want, and it's going to find that from the guide and then get that from the cloud data all list. And then once we have it all in the variables, then we're going to display it. So just display, go to the X position, Y position, play the sounds. You can see, go play the sounds and say the username, ghost out if we're losing if we're getting inactivity. And I have this variable called highlighted player, which basically only says only if there's only one player at a time that can say their username. So if you see here, if I hide this, well, there's only one other person online right now, but if there were 2, then I could just move my mouse to them, and if touching mouse pointer, then set highlighted player to that person. And then only if it's that person, then we're going to say the username. So that just helps save lag, because if you have too many text names on screen or too many speech bubbles, and that can cause a lot of lag. So I just restrict it to one person. And then if a new person joins, as you can see, this guy just joined, so it just set the effect to, it set the name to his name. But if I switch to this person and then back, you can see only one name is displaying at a time. So that's good. All right, so now in the cloud sprite, first we have the, whoa, that's weird. So we have the setting up the guide list here with all the names of the data pieces. And then, of course, for cloud multiplayer, there's really two things you have to do. Number one is send your own data, and number two is read the other player's data. So for sending our own data, we're going to build up this CV variable with all of the data pieces. So as you can see, we're putting X position, Y position, direction, and first is actually the my ID, right? Because if we follow the guide list, then first is the ID. So we put that, which is just a random 4-digit number. And then we put the username. So we just put the length of the username first, and then use the names of the costumes. So D, E, F, G, and stuff, with the number. So L is going to be 38, M is going to be 39, etc. And put that, and then the heartbeat, which is just random, just to keep them active so that they don't go inactive, and then X position, Y position, and we're adding 500 every time just to keep it a 3-digit number, because here in this game you can only go from X negative 240 to 240. So, and you can see I actually made a table up here for what offset you should use depending on what numbers you expect. So for this game, we're probably only going to be having an X position from like between negative 400 to 499, which fits the range that we have, negative 240 to 240, which fits in this range. So we should use an offset of 500. So we add 500 to X position, Y position, and it works for direction, size, costume number, P sound. So for sound, we're probably not going to have more than like 50 sounds or whatever, 10, 50, whatever. So we just do plus 10 here. But if you expected that you have like 200 sounds, then you should change this to plus 500. Because so that way it stays a 3-digit number. And then we'll see over here, we have to change a little bit of that. And then once we've finished building up CV, then we just set it to a random cloud variable. Okay, now for reading the data, first we're going to check all 8 of the cloud variables, and then just check the first 4 letters to see the ID. And then as long as it's not like ourselves or this is an inactive player, then or data hasn't been updated yet, then this is another player. So we check if we already took record of them, then we're just going to update their data in these other 2 lists that we have. Or if it's a new player, then we're going to add all the data, all the new ready-made. You can see we're adding cloud data all. So we're going to generate a whole new list of a whole new group of the data lists. So that's that. And then we actually take a look at all those data contents, and we will get all the data into the cloud data all list. So we're going to polish these numbers and update them. So for the username, we have to undo the costume thing. And then here, this is important because here's where we're going to put the, depending on these offsets that we put up here. So you can see plus 500 for X position. Then we come down here and see, oh, if the data piece name is X position or Y position or direction or size or costume number. Yeah, this is just the same as if data piece number equals X position or equals Y position or equals direction. You can see this is getting way too long. So just put it in this contains block and flip the order, and it's the same thing and it's much more compact. So for these, we expected the length of 3 and the offset of 500, so change this to negative 500 now. And yeah, so then it's going to grab that number of letters from the variable and put it in this variable called val. And then finally, at the end, we will put this val into that cloud data all list, so that it's going to go one by one through all these numbers and update them. And then same for all of the items in this list. And then in between here, we just have in here we just have if it's X, Y direction or size, then we're gonna tween it. So we're just gonna do this smoothing algorithm with the divided by friction thing, or the what is it? Change current by goal minus current divided by friction. And then for the sound change, you can see, I don't know if there's somebody here, it's not gonna work, but somebody's sound change, when they make a sound, hopefully this guy does it. Let's see if he does it, and just watch this number 10 here. Let's see. I don't think he's gonna do it, but when he plays a sound, it's gonna flash to change. And then, yeah, I don't think he's gonna do it. Oh, he did it. Come on. I hope he does it. Come on, please. Change yourself. Oh, wait, it's down here. It's down here. So just look at number 20 here. Oh, saved. Dang it. Oh, well, it's going to change, and then that's going to cause the sound to be played in the other sprite, and then just check for inactive players. So that's pretty much the whole thing. So that's pretty much all the code in this project. Okay, so now that I've explained it, now we're going to go into this griffpatch platformer and try to add cloud multiplayer to this. Okay, so if you want to add this to your game, what you're going to need to do is go open your backpack and definitely copy this cloud sprite. And then in the player sprite, you're going to need this script here, the clone creator, and this clone script here. And this, when I start as clone forever, do clone, should actually probably be called clone frame or clone update or clone tick or something, because it's just doing this every single frame. Yeah, so you backpack the cloud sprite and this and these three scripts here. This one, and this one. Put them into your backpack here. Now, if you want to use stamps, you can also use stamps. So instead of doing the clone stuff, this is just one forever run without screen refresh block, erase all, and then just repeat through the entire number of players. Just get all the data and display it and stamp it, and then just do that every single frame. So if you're doing a 3D game or stamp game or whatever, you can use stamps too, and it'll be fine. Okay, so now once we have all those, we're going to go to the griffpatches game or whatever game, and then open it up and put the cloud sprite in. Okay, so the cloud sprite has cloud variables, and when you put, oh right, this guy tried to add cloud multiplayer, but I don't think it worked, so let's just delete that. So when you backpack a cloud sprite with cloud variables, these cloud variables are not going to work. They're just fake variables. They just have an emoji on them because it converted them for whatever reason to being fake. So to get them to be real again, we have to delete all of them and re-add them. But we can't delete them right now because it's going to, you see, if we delete it right now, it's going to delete this stuff. So we don't want that. So bring it back. Go into the backdrops. This is what you should do. Go into the backdrops and delete all of these cloud variables, or these fake cloud variables, and then re-add them. So you must do this if you backpacked it. If you remixed it, I think it's okay. Or if you saved as a copy, I think also is okay. Okay, so once you recreate all the variables, now this should be okay. So we're just going to go into the player sprite and put in these blocks of code. So just put the clone manager in there. Just this. And this clone frame script. And finally, we need the when I start as clone forever, do the clone thing. Okay, good. And now, just this one thing we should do now, just for later, just make a new variable for this sprite only called isClone. And just at the beginning, set it to 0. And then when I start as clone, set it to 1. Okay. Alright, so now we have that. So how are we going to get cloud variables into this game? Well, actually, we're actually really close already. So just go into the cloud variable. Actually, here's what we need to do. In the cloud variable, in the cloud sprite right now, we're just using X position of players and these blue blocks. These are not really good to use. So just make sure you have a variables like px and py. So we're just gonna do that. And then in this game, I don't know why griffpatch made it like this, but we're just gonna swap all the x variables for px and py like that, and then change these here. So if you're using, so you need to make sure that all of the variables in the game are like this px and py, but for this clone script is the lowercase x and lowercase y. So just make sure it's like that. Okay, and then go to the cloud sprite, and we're just gonna do this. Just take out this px, or just take out the x position and y position. And just put px and py. Just do that, and then come back here, and now we can test it. And there's actually two ways to test it by yourself. You don't have to open up another tab to test it. Number one, the first way to test is just press the 1 key, and it creates it. Now, okay, that's okay. So we have a couple problems. Just take out the size, just set it to 100 always. And this is actually creating some lag. So find out why is go down here and just change this broadcast tick and wait to just regular broadcast. Okay, so the first way to test it is just press the 1 key, and it'll just change your ID for a split second, and it'll make it like another player is there, and then it'll disappear for 5 seconds. So you can see this is not displaying right. Like, why is the player not moving? And that's because we need to, this is a scrolling game, so we have to put this minus scroll X minus scroll Y. And now I press the 1 key, and there he is. He's displaying there. So that's what your character will look like if it's a cloud game. What else can we take out? Take out point and direction, switch costume, set size, take out the, you don't need to say the ID, just say the, just say username, or think username. There we go. And then just press the 1 key, and yeah, he's displaying. So that will work. Now, the second way to test it is you go here, you go to the cloud sprite, and just remove this ID equals my ID block. And now you see a duplicate of yourself, because by removing this, now this program will, it'll think that it's thinking that the data that we're sending it is another player as well. So like if we put this back, then now it's going to block data sent by us. But if we do this and we open it up, so we can see a duplicate of ourselves. So just keep this on, and this is what your player will look like when they're going in the game. So you can see the movement is like not perfect, but it's just tweening like 3 times a second, so it's not gonna be perfect. Okay, there you go. So see, there's a problem there. We go across the board. We go, eventually it just goes crazy. So why is that? Let's show px here. It's crossed like 500, and it goes bananas, and you can guess why. Because here, px plus 500, we expected px to be a 3-digit number, or be a number, and then once we go over 500, then it becomes a 4-digit number. So this is not going to work, so because we're going too high on the px. So what we need to do is now we assume that these are 4-digit numbers. So you can see we just assume that px can go from negative 4,000 to 4,099, so we should use an offset of 5,000. So we're going to put 5,000 in here instead. 5,000. And then we have to go down here. Wait, where is it? Yeah, down here to this part. And we actually don't have a 4-digit 5,000, so we need to make a new one. So just Just take it's here, put this here. Then data 3. Okay, so we have our 3, our 2, our 1, and then we need a 4. So length of 4, negative 5,000. And then put this up here. This is for x and y. So x, comma, y, comma. And then just take those out. We actually don't even need these. We're not using any of these. So we could delete it if we wanted. Probably, yeah. Okay, so x and y. So now we go across. And yay, it works. Because now we can accept 4-digit numbers now. So great, that works. Now, what if we wanted to add something new to this game? Like let's say your character has an item that they're holding, or the color. Let's just add the color. Like let's just make it so the player gets a random color at the beginning of the game, so they're not just red. So make a variable called pcolor, and game on, just set pcolor to, I think it's 1 to 200 is the range. So you set that here, and during the game, you just set it here. Set color effect to pcolor. So we shouldn't just do that because we need to store it in a variable too. We need this pcolor variable. Okay, so now we're yellow, but this is not going to be transferred through the cloud because we're not doing anything with this variable in the cloud yet. So what we got to do is go into the cloud variables, and we will edit this guide list. So this is what you have 3 things you have to do in this cloud sprite when you're going to add a new data set. One is you have to update the list. So x, y, and say color. So put it here. Just remember where we put it. We put it after the y position. And then go over here. The second step is to go over here and put it here. So pcolor. Now, we have to think about what offset we're going to use. So pcolor is between 1 and 200. So yeah, 1 and 200, it'll work for this plus 500. So let's just use the plus 500. So just use round pcolor, plus 500. So that will work. And then the third step is go over here to this part down here and put color in here. You have to make sure it's using the right offset. So yes, it's a length of 3 and offset of 500. Okay, so that's it. That's all we have to do in this sprite for the color. And now it's ready to come over here, make a variable called color for this sprite only, and type color here as well because we're getting it from the guide list. And then set color effect to color. And this should work. Boom, now we're purple on both ours and the clone. That's so awesome. Isn't that so easy, like just to add a new piece of data, and we got it here. That's so cool, I think. Yeah, and we can actually delete, let's delete some of these other things. You don't need direction, size. Maybe you need those, but we don't need this stuff. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to do is show you how to add shooting bullets. So what we're going to do is we're just going to name this to bullet change, and we're going to add a shooting bullet. So let's just take out direction, size, costume number, and sound, and let's just make a new variable called p bullet change. I think is what I called it before. P bullet change, and this is just going to be a 1-digit number, so it doesn't need any offset or anything. It's just going to be a 1-digit number from 0 to 9. Just changes whenever you fire a bullet. And then come down here, and you don't need it because it's just a 1-digit number, so it just fits in here, right? Okay, but we do need to go down here and change this to bullet change. Now here we should technically be using the contains thing. Whoops. So you can have multiple things. Like, so we could have sound change or bullet change. So you do this, sound change, comma, bullet change, comma. So it can be both of them. You can have anything like sound change or bullet change. These are the two things that I've used it for so far. I'm not sure what else we can use it for yet, but I'm sure there's some good things. So we have that. Now, player, oh yeah, we can remove direction here, size, customer, sound, we don't need that. Oh, I forgot. There's one more really important thing for this. So if we go in, if this is the for this platformer, we have to add the levels, because if you see right now, if I remove the duplicate of myself up here, just put this piece back, and he's gonna ghost away now. If I just press the 1 key and then go to the next level, you can see that he is still there, and even though I'm on level 2. So for this kind of thing, like a platformer, you want the level to be you only want to see the other players that are on the same level as you are. So we actually need to store the level. So this is another good practice. Let's add another piece of data to the hit here. So X, Y, let's just add, I can't see it. Go away. X, Y, level. And then level, let's just add 500. I don't know. You're probably not going to have that many. I think we have a level variable already. Actually, let's do 10. So this is probably going to be a 2-digit number. Like, you're not going to have like 89, like 100 levels. So just maybe have like 10 or 20 levels. So just a 2-digit number. And then go down here and include in the 2-digit numbers level. Boom, there we go. And then here, make a level for this sprite only, level. Okay, so now we have this variable. All we have to do is, if the clone's level is the same as the level that we're currently on, then show it. Otherwise, hide it. Okay, so now we try it. Again, we can press the 1 key to see ourselves, sort of, just for a split second. And now we press the 1 key here, and then go to the second level, and he's gone. So he goes away. He would still be on level 1 right now, but because we are on level 2, it's not going to display him because he was on level 1. Okay, so that's great. Now, okay, bullet change. So I actually made a, okay, so, sorry, I'm just kind of rushed. Okay, so for bullet change, let's just make it so you can press the Q key to fire a bullet. So, okay, this is where we have that is clone variable, because we don't want we don't want the other players to fire bullets when we fire it, so is clone has to be 0. And then I actually made a sprite earlier called bullet, so I'll explain this later. So we're just gonna create a clone of bullet, and then this variable, and just play some sound like pop or pew, I think, but like much softer. Yeah, where'd it go? So play the sound, and all right, so whenever you fire a bullet, we have to do the change p bullet change by 1, but it's just change. It doesn't matter what it is, just we have to change it. So we're just gonna make it if it's greater than 9, so if it becomes like 10, then just set it back to 0. So set back to 0. Okay, and then create clone of bullet. And then right, so this will work, but yeah, I mean it will work, and then bullet change will change, and then it will fire a bullet. Here's what we have to do. So this is for sound change. So we already did the cloud variable. It's going to work, but we have to make a new thing here called bullet change for this sprite only. And change bullet change like that. And then if bullet change equals change. So what's going to happen is, if we look at the cloud data all sprite, and we have to see our duplicate of ourselves again here. So if we look at it and look at this last one, 8, I think, yeah, and press Q, you can see for a split second, just look at the number 8 in the list here, it's a split second equals change, right? So just for one frame. And that is where it's going to be create clone of bullet for the other player. But this is just going to create, if you just go into the bullet sprite, all we have is go to, hang on, let me just add this one block here. Just make a variable called bullet agent and put it for 0 for the when the player fires it, but put it to the cloud player number when the clone fires it, like that. So, and just put it directly before the create clone a bullet. Okay, so now we have bullet agent variable. I can explain how the bullet works. So when the clone's created, it depends whether the bullet was fired by ourselves or by the other player. So if it's fired by ourselves, then just go to the player X, player Y position, and just ghost out. Just make it not easy to see it. We want to dodge the other player's bullets, not ours. But if it's the other player, then oh, actually, we have to change these to bullet agent. Small bug. Okay, there we go. And this is actually the exact same code. We're just getting the X position and Y position of the other player, the bullet agent that we just got. So if it's ourselves, then we just go to PXPY. But if it's someone else, the bullet agent was the other player, then we got to go to the X position of the cloud player in the list. And then always go to the position with the scroll X and scroll Y, and then point towards the mouse pointer. Oh, yeah, okay, this is not really gonna work. Yeah, we'll need the direction, actually. Yeah, so we'll do this, but then point in direction. Yeah, we're gonna need the mouse pointer. Okay, so we need to add the direction back again. So just point towards mouse pointer here. And then we have the direction of the player, so we'll just go into the cloud. Remember, another practice. Direction, create it there. And then direction of player, I guess. Plus 500, so we don't need that. And then go down here, and in the 3-digit one, color direction. Okay, so now we have direction back. Go to the bullet sprite and point in direction. Duplicate this, but put direction in there. Okay, so hopefully that will work. And then once it's pointing in the right direction, then this is how you can change the X and Y position of the bullet going in a specific direction. Just change X by the speed times sine of direction, and change Y by the speed times cosine of direction. So if you want to make it go faster, just change this to something higher, then it'll go faster. And then this is for detecting if an enemy bullet hits us. So we can't just do if touching player, then die, because then our own bullets can hit us. So to tell the difference is oh no, I'm sorry. We can't do this, because then what if the enemy bullet hits the other player? Then we're gonna die. That's not what we want. So we actually have to use the math and detect, as long as the bullet X position is close enough to the player's X position, so within 12 pixels, then, and the same for the Y position, then we're gonna die. So if the bullet is within 12 pixels X and 12 pixels of the Y, then die. Okay, so now that should work, hopefully. I hope so. Where's our duplicate? Oh, we gotta start it again. What the heck? Okay, there we go. And if we just aim the mouse somewhere, like over here, and then press Q, as you can see, they are firing. So the the one that we fired is the grayed out one, and the enemy one is the white one, the really white one. So you'll see if we go here and then I touched it. Let's change these back to 5. So if I touch the enemy bullet, then I should die. Where is it? Come on. So if I touch the white one, then I die. So that will work in the game. Okay, so yeah, that's how you can add bullets to your game. You just have to have a bullet change variable, and then as soon as the bullet change equals change, then you create the position of the bullet. And this variable might not be the most accurate. You might have to have like other lists or something, like a add data to a list, and then that creates the bullet or something. But this should just work. Okay, and then you just put this back, and now your cloud game should work if you test it with other people. Alright, I hope this video cleared some things up, and see you in the next video. If you have any questions, just let me know. Bye-bye.